Welcome back to episode 9 of the 5-chapter rule. This is Hikaru no Go. So this is an old manga from, I believe, 99 to early 2000s.
1998 it was published.
98? That must be the English version I'm looking at.
Yeah, the anime is fall 21.
No, there was another one in 2000, early 2000s as
I don't know if it's
well.
released before then, it was just published in 1998, but...
Maybe. So, for those who do not know this one, because probably a few people won't know this, it's
A
been
lot of
moved a
people
lot
won't know this one.
from if you ever had the early monthly Sherman Jumps like I did, you will recognize it. But the brief summary of this is a regular schoolboy, Hikaru Shindo, stumbles upon an old go board while looking for his grandpa's old storage room for something worth money. From inside the board came an old spirit named Sai, who once dedicated his life to Go. Together, Sai continues to search for the move people call the God's Hand, while Hikari slowly began interest in this ancient game and walks down the road of Go. And for those who don't know, Go is a very old traditional board game, and I believe when this manga came out, it was kind of dying out. This manga actually brought Go back into
Yeah, it's credited for the boom of Go in the late 2000s.
Early 2000s as well.
Or late 1990s,
Yeah,
early 2000s.
It really brought back an old traditional game back into the limelight of the younger people. And the author won quite a few awards for this manga.
She certainly did.
She hasn't really done much else. She did like one little brief for like 7-chapter long ice skating manga.
I've got the info here. It was published 8th of December 1998 and stopped July 14th, 2003. So a good 4.5 years of serialization. 198 chapters. I'm
guessing she's just enjoying, unlike quite a lot of manga, right? She's just enjoying the money and just relaxing. Ever since, too many of them, I think, worked themselves to the point of
the information I've got here is it was a duo as well. One person did the artwork and she did all the story for it.
Yeah, and the artist is quite famous.
Yes, he is the Death Note guy.
It's funny, when I read this, I actually went, I recognise this character art. Why do I recognise this character art?
But you can tell, like, over the 5 years of making this series, how his artwork's changed.
Oh, yeah. Some people's changed, and some people's, like, One Piece doesn't.
I'm looking at genres here. It says it's supernatural drama comedy, but I thought it'd be classed as sports.
I won't really... It's a board game, so it probably won't fall into sport as a board game.
I thought it would have done.
Has a ghost, so supernatural makes sense. Comedy, it's trying to be comical. I won't say it is, but it's trying to. Drama, maybe. I don't know at this point. But the plot, for this beginning, it's kind of the standard main character stumbles upon a spirit, a bit of angry back and forth between the protagonist and the spirit. Then the spirit helps shape their future for the better. We've seen it a few times. Yu-Gi-Oh! Probably the most famous of that.
Spirit, however, does annoy me, but we'll get into that when we get onto characters.
Yeah. Like I say, you've seen this kind of plot a few times before, but as this kind of predates quite a lot of manga that I've seen that opening with, it gets a pass because...
Yeah, so chapter 1 is where he finds the cursed Go board. He meets his blatant rival in chapter 2. And then chapter 5 the final one we're doing is it's in the middle of a game. So we don't know if he's going to lose or not. But I would assume he'd win.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't imagine he'd lose a lot in this series.
It's like the first thing. It kind of would make sense for him to win the first round. One thing I like in the plot is that the fact that the game strategies have changed since the Spirit Sai was alive, meaning that he doesn't start off as the King of Games, or in this case, the King of Go. So I
That
like
is one
that.
thing I wasn't sure about, because I think it's chapter 3. He asks the sensei of the school who the best Go player was, and then it makes an image of some kanji. And I don't know
Mm,
if, because I don't read kanji, if his name, Sai's name, can also be read as that person's name. And it actually is him, just named differently.
well, the
I don't
Sai
know.
seemed to respond as he's not sure who it is.
Yeah, but a lot of people in back then, from what I remember, their names can be read differently. And it may have just randomly
Mm.
been his name. It's just changed. I don't know.
Oh yeah, because how so yeah, the language has changed quite a bit. So for
So
example,
potentially, he
in
is the best player.
in katakana, I think it's katakana. Is it katakana, hiragana? Oh god. Um, you have the syllables in Japanese language, and two, which is wa and wu. Um, you still get sort of taught them when you learn Japanese, but they're kind of dead.
Yeah, so that was
They're not
one
used
point I wasn't
anymore.
sure about.
If you look at old things, they're still there. So there is like all like kanji and normal Japanese language, which has changed
But then
and
it's
it's
like,
hidden out.
would it have been translated in a physical volume, or would that have just been ignored, do you think? 'Cause I don't know how these scanlations are really old. So I don't know if they
Yeah, I'm gonna have to
scan the actual volumes or not.
when we put the pictures on this for the video, I will have to. I do apologize for the quality because it. You can definitely tell the scans were done on older machines a while
Yeah.
back. Uh, it brings me back to nostalgia when I first had to use a photocopier
Right, so
back in the day.
we've done the story, which right now is just him playing Go and learning the rules. Do we do characters next?
Yeah. So to start off with Hikaru, who's our protagonist. Fairly normal kid, doesn't like school. Don't
Incredibly
blame him.
stupid. That's why he wants to sell the Go board in the first place.
Yeah. He has a lot of self-confidence, I guess. Um, he's reluctant. What's interesting. He's very reluctant to have say change life. Like I don't want my life changing. I'm happy with my.
I'll get on to
So
that.
yeah, we'll see how that goes as the story progresses. I guess. Not much else to really say about Kari. He's just kind of typical kid, really. You know? Sai, who's our spirit guardian, he comes across as very innocent and only really focused on playing Go.
Well, he
Uh,
was cheated, and that's why he got killed in the first place. But
yeah.
apparently, no one noticed them cheating, so they probably wanted to get rid of him in the first place.
Well, yeah, because he so might as well spoil this, 'cause who cares? It's that old. The in the past, Sai was playing against. So basically, he was the teach mentor
It's not
of
even
the
a spoiler. It's
game
in chapter 2.
for, for like the emperor. I think the emperor, something like that, or the emperor's son or whatever. And the another person started to try to take the attention away from said emperor's son or whatever.
It stated there
Uh,
could only be one master, so they had to fight for the role of master.
yes.
And the douche
Um,
cheated against him.
and the guy, Sai noticed the guy was cheating, but before he could say anything, the other guy accused him of cheating and completely destroyed his
But you'd have
reputation by doing
thought
so.
for being the royal tutor, he'd have some enough prestige to go, yeah, I'm not cheating.
Yeah, well, either way, this caused Sai to go and drown himself, basically.
I do not
Um,
like this character. I'm just going to put it out there.
yeah, he's so incredibly one-track minded.
The
It's
problem
ridiculous.
is he's possessing the kid's mind, right? That's not too bad. But then his emotions affect the main character, so that means if he's not playing Go, he can basically ruin the main character's life, forcing him to
Yeah,
play the game.
That's what I was about to say
I'm
next.
not. I'm not a big fan of that.
His emotions, like I say, greatly impact not just how he feels, but it actually greatly impacts Ikari's health.
Yeah.
So
So that
when
means if he's
he
not
was,
playing the game, yeah.
yeah,
But
when
then
he was
it's
getting,
like, if since he's going to be teaching him how to play the game, is the entire series going to be technically not the main character playing, but him playing? Sort
yeah,
of. I'm going to make this reference to the Yu-Gi-Oh thing. Of the
hmm
entirety of the Yu-Gi-Oh series, the main character technically isn't playing. It's the spirit playing, and only plays right at the end.
no, that's not actually true. During Pegasus, because
For one
he get
episode, maybe.
he can choose like a certain thing. I can't remember what it was. He has to swap out, and
Yeah. But he didn't make the
normally
decisions
Yugi
into like
tries.
the deck build or all of that. He's just randomly there because of plot. The
Yeah,
entire series has been it, so I don't know if this one's going to be the same. Or does it get to like halfway through and then he doesn't really use the spirit anymore and he's comfortable enough playing the game on his own? I don't know.
mm.
I haven't got that. I haven't got that far.
Well, actually, from what we've seen, actually, he doesn't play for Hikaru. He just tells Hikaru what to do.
Well, he'd
So he's
never
not
win at
like,
all because he doesn't know the game.
yeah, because Yugi is controlled while Hikaru's not. He's just told. But yeah, what I was saying about the emotion aspect is you see early on, is because Sai was feeling depressed. It didn't just make Hikaru feel depressed. It actually made him vomit violently.
Yeah.
So actually, it is massively detrimental to his health.
So basically, his
Um,
entire life now has to be go or like everything he wanted to do in his life, he can't really do now.
yeah. Because he's forced to by the ghost because it's like anytime he tries to like he has like the go fine, we will do this, just let me do this first, stop feeling depressed because you're making me feel ill. Yeah. um
It's odd. I wouldn't have
maybe
expected that.
maybe this will obviously change as it goes on, maybe more control over things and whatnot. Well, we obviously it's only 5 chapters in. We're still getting the bit where the spirit and the host are battling each other to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I think it's actually going back to Yugi film. Yeah, alien to the because the pharaoh tried to knock Kyber off the cliff. Yugi
Yeah.
doesn't let Yami appear for a while. So there's multiple plot points throughout the series. But anyway,
Maybe that's
uh,
maybe I think Yu-Gi-Oh was around the same time, so it could be close. I think
yeah,
Yu-Gi-Oh was
we've also
96, something like that.
original Yu-Gi-Oh! Was that
Yeah,
98?
roughly the same time then, so you can see some parallels.
Yeah,
Uh,
so I wouldn't say they're copying each other. It might have just been like
of
coincidence.
course, yeah.
Um,
The only other main character you really see
there's
is
two.
the blatant main rival,
Yeah, there's a Akira
the guy who
who
is so much better than everyone else. He has to give everyone handicaps.
yeah, but he's a prodigy, child prodigy basically for Go, but he's actually very friendly though. He's
It's
not the
weird though, like
asshole, right?
if he's a
But he's
child prodigy to the level that the series is trying to make him out to be, he wouldn't be randomly beating children lower his level.
well, he did offer Carrie a handicap.
Yeah, why would you be challenging those people? You wouldn't improve by beating on weaklings, would you? It's a bit
Um,
weird, you know what I mean?
so actually, there is a thing. There is actually a thing for this. So Go, shogi, and chess. There is actual benefit to playing weaker people sometimes because weaker people. Because the problem is when you reach a certain level, most top end people will play in very similar way. So you just combat in the exact same technique each time, and that's it. If you play some weaker people, because they're not following specific strategy, they will do random moves completely out of the field. And if have just focused purely on the top end people, you will see them coming. Like for example, I went back in the day at school when I used to play chess. Actually beat the top person because I did something random, and he didn't expect the random. He completely make the master trying to follow the usual strategy with the top people normally did, and I ended up beating him. because he didn't see the wild random. And it's actually I made the wrong move because I made the wrong move. He ended up, so it's actually a benefit to playing weaker people sometimes to keep your ability to be reactive to what the other moves the person
Yeah.
predicts him. So there is a legit reason. But yeah, like I said, as you said, they're setting him up for the right. But he comes across as a very friendly rival. From what I gather from the little bit I saw,
Well,
he's
chapter 4
probably
is him ranting about how Hikari doesn't want to be a Go player, and he
yeah.
belittling them, and like, calm down.
I
I get you want
think
to be a pro, but you should also understand not everyone else wants to.
I bet it's gonna be a bit like the Kyber situation where you've got a really overbearing who's like, "You must do this, you must do that." I bet it's probably something like that. Like,
He does take the game seriously, but he wants to be a pro, so I understand.
Yeah, I think that'll be his character arc. Will be the rivals one. Is
Him
most
losing a
likely.
couple of times,
It's
I'd
quite
assume.
a common plot line in early 2000 mangas. I remember seeing that quite.
Yeah.
And
What's the
the
next
only
topic?
last.
Artwork, or is it character still?
There's one last character. I mean, it's not very much to say.
I've literally just
You've
read it
also
now, and I can't remember anymore. But sure, who we got?
we've got a Kyrie, who's the girl. I'm gonna. I guess she may eventually be the love interest for the Hikari. Maybe it's his close friend.
I honestly forgot she existed.
Fairly normal kid, nothing special about her. We can move on. I'm getting Sakura syndrome here. Uh, move on. So, like I say, the art.
The art's very, very 90s.
Yes, you can tell it's an older manga. It is very much that style. Like I say, the characters have a very much Yu-Gi-Oh style. The face is very similar. The hairstyle,
I'll
the
give them
crazy
credit though. They
hairstyle.
do show a lot of scenes of the board, so it tries to explain a lot of it to the players, not with just text, but with the actual art as well.
Hopefully, because I can't understand that. I don't know what the hell's going on in that game.
I don't either, but it makes a point at one point of how people hold the stones, and it shows
Yes.
a lot more of that. Like it does a lot of the storytelling through artwork, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Um, so other than that, the style, basic levels of shading, but the art is still pretty good. Good understanding the negative space that makes things stand out.
It
3D
flows well.
level stuff.
I
Quite
think
a
it. I think
few.
it flows well.
I'd say a good chunk of the panels have very basic background art, but the focus on the characters are all right for this kind of thing. It's all about
Yeah, the
their
background art
actions.
thing is what made me think it was a sports series, because a
It
lot of the
has a very
sports ones don't do backgrounds to take away from the things happening on screen.
you have a character doing a move and you have loads of line ground surrounding them, like trying to make it this basic action look far more epic. Yeah, like I said, very sport manga-ish in
Yeah.
that sense. To be fair, original Yu-Gi-Oh manga had the exact same thing where
It did, yeah.
dramatic over slamming this card down on this table.
A lot of
There's a
series
lot of
out
comparisons
that
to
came out in this
Yu-Gi-Oh.
same genre at same timeline were like that.
Mm. I didn't really think much when I read it, but talking about it, yeah, it has so many similarities to Yu-Gi-Oh. Keep looking at over to my thing about the anniversary Sherman Jump goes back over the monthly things. It has the biggest mangas it ever had. Sherman Jump on the spine.
Alright, so I've got a quick list, just for context
Okay,
here, of 1998 mangas. So Shaman King was out in that time.
yeah,
You can tell because of that sort of artwork as well.
One Piece.
I don't think it was.
Dragon Ball Z definitely was.
Uh, Vagabond is a decent art style of similar art as well.
Sandland. From that similar era.
I'll just read a couple that I've just got here. We've got Shadow Star. I remember that one. Afro Samurai was out in this time.
Really? Wow.
Cowboy Bebop the manga.
That was quite rubbish, actually.
What else we got? Ghost Hunt, the novel. Captain Harlock. Yeah, I can tell by the art style.
Oh, Captain Harlock.
Late 90s.
Wasn't
Captain
Euro
Harlock.
you wasn't Yu Yu Hashu around that time?
I don't know. It's not on this list.
It doesn't matter. We're going off topic,
Ultimate
aren't we?
Muscle. I'm
Ugh.
just ones for a discussion of the art style at that time. But, like, just by looking at these, I can tell that it was from this period, basically.
Yeah, it's interesting how in manga you can sometimes tell the period. So I guess off art to design, uh, Hikaru and Akiri design are very 90s kids, at least what I
Very,
remember
very.
from those years. Those years are starting to get further and further away. So I remember similar clothes to Akari. Hikaru at least. Sai is dressed like a Shinto priest, I think. I think that's a Shinto.
Shinto priest, yeah.
Yeah. Even though he wasn't a priest.
We don't know. He may have
And
been. He just may have been really good at Go. It
yeah,
doesn't go a lot into his backstory in the first 5.
yeah, I don't know how much it would go into his backstory. Um, Also nostalgic, goofy manga hair.
Yeah.
That was kind of a thing at that point.
Yeah, it's like late 90s had stuff like Trigun. That sort of thing.
Triangle.
It's sort of that genre and that style.
Hmm. So, like I said, design's nothing to write home about. It's mostly basic. Uh, the question here would be the final question is: would we read more? My opinion is, well, I have to say these first chapters didn't particularly grab me. It has some awards and whatnot, so I may give it a few more chapters when I've got a spare moment. But
It's partially because it is award winning. You kind of want
mm,
to know why it's award winning. But then it's also, do I have to research how to play this game to understand it?
yeah, it just partly feels like a manga that I would skim through rather than like slowly read.
Yeah, I could see it.
There's a few like that. There's a few like I normally do that with some web comics because some of them are skimmers.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure how I'm not sure I'd recommend this, but if you're interested in some like
Yeah, it's like, do you
proper manga
recommend it?
history,
It's, do I? It got a slow start, but from what it is, I'd assume it would do. It'd have a lot of
hmm,
text. It's like one of those niche ones.
yeah,
Sort of, I mean, in a way, I'm going to bring it up again, but sports ones are generally niche.
true.
They don't, unless it's like a really popular sport, like what Haikyuu did for volleyball,
Or children's
or what
card games.
Slam Dunk originally did for basketball. Go doesn't really have the Western appeal that a
No,
basketball one or a volleyball one would have.
no, true, very true.
I mean,
Um,
it's well drawn for what it is. It's just, to me, I don't know how to play Go, and even if I did, there's no people around in my local area that would, so it would have to be against online people.
and also again, Go's not even I know some Japanese people. Go's not something they really know either. Shogi, some know Shogi, but Go seems to be one of these old dying board games,
Like,
or
it's
at
got,
least amongst
that's why I don't think,
younger.
even if it's great, I'd recommend it. You know what I mean?
Hmm,
It's like, even if I thought it was amazing, there's certain series I know I just wouldn't be able to recommend.
true.
So, I mean, I probably would read a bit more, just a bit. Because
It
I
is
want
a
to get,
piece of
well,
manga
at least to
history.
the end of this game in chapter 5. Because it
Watch it
ends
be
mid
the first
game.
3 panels that it's just done.
I might read to maybe chapter 20, 25. Because it is basically just shy of 200.
Hmm.
But I have heard that its ending is not great, but I don't know. I have not got there.
To be fair, quite a lot of long-running series aren't. I mean,
But 200's quite far for a Go series. So so I wouldn't recommend it, but if you want to read it, you can. It's just something that I myself and a lot of Western people, I don't know if they'd understand it. I'll get into it as much. Maybe it's like one of those ones that when it first came out is really good, but then a lot of things have changed in the world that it's not as, it doesn't feel up to it anymore, maybe.
yeah.
However, this is basically the only series she's written, so I might have a go just for that.
I mean, you could read the ice skating manga.
She did do an ice skating one next, yes.
Oh, that's even more niche, isn't it?
It's like right in the position I'm in now. I mean, I don't know if you're in the position or anyone else potentially watching this or hearing it, because you technically could just listen to this as a podcast if you wanted. I completely lost my train of thought. Oh yeah. If you're going to be reading 200 chapters into a series, you've got to love that series. I don't know if I would get to 200 though.
That's fair.
You got any opinion on
Very
that particular bit, or are we going to spin the wheel for the next two?
Yeah, I think that'll be end for this episode, but we've got the wheel to spin. Like I said, normally I've got a random number generator, but considering how it went a bit dodgy, I'm gonna mess around with it. So I'm gonna use a wheel, which already has pre-manga stuff on it. Whatnot, it's quite a big one. It's far too big to read. It's one of those ones with so many on it that you can't actually read the text. Online already. I'm going to try that one, see what it sends us. So let's spin the wheel first time. And we have Pokemon Adventures.
Really? Which one?
The original one. It's the original manga. Oh, this is a blast from the past. I used to have this as the big comic style version of the mangas they used to do, those big giant comic shaped ones where there's only so many chapters rather than a full volume.
We
Probably
may
still
need to
have them
find a
around
website
somewhere.
to read this on, but okay, Pokemon Adventures.
I've actually got the first 8 volumes because I found one day in the charity shop. This is a while ago now. I hadn't actually read them; just on the bookshelf still. I found a charity shop that had them for 50p and they were pristine, brand new, mint condition. I went 50p? Yeah, sure, why not? Just pick them all up. Well, that's a good first start. That's quite good. Let's try the next one. And we have what the hell is this one? Yatatari Yarashi Fukanami-kun. I'm just gonna go search that on the manga website. Oh, for fuck's sake! Yeah, what the hell's that cover? Uh, no, and no on that one.
All right then, respin.
Respin that one. That is awful yaoi cover. No. Well, moving on to respin. How to be the chosen one. I don't know this one. The hell's this one? Okay. Another yaoi. Firstborn is
It
like
actually is a
boring,
yaoi, yeah.
tedious. Sex is the only. Oh,
It's a smut one. Respin.
respin. God damn it. Uh. Okay, and we.
To clarify, we're not respinning because it is a yaoi. We are respinning because it is a smut webtoon.
Yes. The first one I didn't need to read. I didn't need to read the blurb to realize. And we have Mew World Lovetopia. What the?
That doesn't sound good.
No, and because titles concerning and goddamn, what's with the yaoi covers? Seriously, what the hell? It was like I was being tentacle buggered. What the hell? Also, that's 3 in a row.
That is a yaoi smart. Yeah, well done. Spin
What
again.
about three in a row? What the hell is with this spinner? Does this spinner have a Pride Month setting on it or something? Oh bloody hell! It actually does as well. I'm turning that off for a second because that last three. Wait, what's Pokemon Ventures have anything with LGBT?
It doesn't.
Oh, don't tell me it's the nap. Never mind. Right, one more spinner about the
Come on, keep spinning.
tick on it. I might have to go back to the number generator.
At one point, we will have to.
And we have
Oh.
Gunhead, which is a mecha series.
There's no way it landed on that. Come on.
It did. Gunhead. That's like it's spelt with only E instead of an A. So this is perfectly fine. It's only a 3-chapter long. So should we only do the first chapter to keep it in line with the pub?
How many pages are we talking? It's all of it is 94 pages.
What, all 3 chapters?
Yeah, 94 pages altogether.
Really?
Chapter 1, I've just quickly flicked through here. The contents, 94 pages is the epilogue.
Oh, so epilogue is... Oh, so the first chapter's...
Prologue, main story, epilogue.
27 is the first chapter, 67 for the second chapter.
94.
And then...
So it'd be about 130 pages-ish.
So do you want to read the whole thing, or do we just
Yeah.
do the first chapter?
It's going to be odds calling it the 5-chapter rule. It'll just be, sure.
The whole thing? Well, one chapter would make it the introduction to the series, but I just said as it's quite short, do we just read the whole thing?
Might as well.
Well, it's going to be a full, complete manga review in this one, then. That's going to be interesting.
Gunhead and Pokemon Adventures.
Hmm?
Gunhead and Pokemon Adventures.
It's an interesting mix, isn't it?
So, if people are still watching to this point, Gunhead is, if you want to check for next time. So Pokemon is, well, Pokemon. Gunhead is action mecha sci-fi.
Yeah, about a robot war. It looks one of the characters on the front here really looks like the blonde-haired lass from the original Gundam series.
So what I'll do is, while we just, for the spin bits, I'll put the images of those up so people will know what Gunhead is right now, at least by the front cover.
You might not. I won't recommend putting up the
No,
covers.
I'm not putting those up.
Rejected.
Don't worry about that. Only put up the ones we choose.
That was. It's interesting to get Gunhead. I mean, that's a very old manga. So it's Pokemon Adventures. 2 more vintage mangas then. Well, that's the end of this. We we have some interesting ones to read for next time.
We certainly do.
It'll be a bit of a trip down nostalgia lane, won't it? We might. Funny enough, Pokemon Adventures might have to be censored for YouTube.
It was pretty violent from what I remember, yeah.
I remember an Arbok getting chopped in half.
Yeah, that does happen. I think I remember Charizard biting a Poliwhirl at some point.
I don't know. I mean, I didn't read.
I only saw snippets. I never actually read it, so it'd be interesting to sort of read.
The comic versions, which were not full volume.
It's technically complete as well.
Yeah, it's 7 volumes long.
Yeah, so we'll call that there.
And then 8th and whatnot is Corn Silver.
Yeah.
Anyway, so until next time, goodbye.